Aloha, this is Indar Lang, and I'm your Hawaii Money Guy. Today, we're going to talk about Airbnbs and some of the tricks and nuances of them all and some of the mistakes I have learned, and I want to share with you guys some of the insights I know about them. Check it out, stay tuned, let's do this. Just before we get started, I'd love it if you guys could subscribe below, and that way we can reach more people and just help people make their money work for them in any different way we can. Thank you guys, and let's get started in today's content. So a little bit about what we have for Airbnbs. We've had 16 Airbnbs in Ohio, and we have 5 Airbnbs here in Hawaii and another Turo and so forth. We've been doing them for a long time, and I've been in and out of some fun ones and some bad ones, and I just want to share my experiences with them. And first of all, we say the word Airbnb, but truly they are B&Bs. Airbnb is just one of the sites that we use, and for you all out there, you should be using all of the sites as well. So there's Airbnb, there's VRBO, there's HomeAway, there's Booking.com, there's TripAdvisor, Hotels.com as well. So we have a site manager and we have it on all of these sites. So when we say Airbnb, they kind of have the name of what they are, and but really that's just one site that offers your bed and breakfast. That's what these are. These are bed and breakfast for temporary stays. With that said, what is an Airbnb? These are generally 1 night, 2 night, 3 night, minimum up to a month sometimes. People renting out either your personal house or renting out a room or renting out a hotel room, whatever you may have or own. And that's where it all kind of started from. Airbnb is just more popular, is where we are now today. What's some nuances about it all? What's some tricks that we've had, and what's some struggles that we've had in general? We had a bunch in Ohio, and we've since sold a bunch of them. And a little backstory about that: before we even buy an Airbnb, we actually use a site. Write this down, guys. It's called AirDNA, AIRDNA, and AirDNA analyzes an Airbnb and makes sure that your numbers are correct. It'll tell you, big 2 numbers we look at is what is the average night minimum, how much will this place make nightly, and then also what will be the average vacancies of this particular unit. So you can go onto that site, you can type in the address, how many, if it's a unit number, if it's a condo, and bedroom and bathroom counts and so forth, and then it will tell you, it will generate what this thing should do. 75% it'll be rented out monthly, and it'll tell you how much you can rent it out for average, per month. So maybe $120. And this is going to vary through the year. You'll have your busy season of Christmas, and you'll have your dead seasons of maybe March or April, whatever it may be. But you just want to find the average for your whole year. And then you can analyze this deal. You can analyze, is this deal going to produce, what's it going to produce? How much is it going to make? Is it going to cover my mortgage? Am I going to make money at it? And it's a great site. Actually, there's some loan officers that actually use that site to analyze the same deals as you would. So check out AirDNA. I'm not affiliated with it, but great site to analyze any Airbnb across the nation. And you do got to pay for it. So, obviously all that you have to factor in. So after you analyze that deal, then you look at this deal, is it going to work? Another tip that you should definitely do is make sure this particular place will rent at a normal rental. And this happened here in Hawaii, that a ton of all our Airbnbs, everyone knows in Hawaii, has become illegal. And there's only a set amount of Airbnbs to have. So a lot of people who had these Airbnbs and were buying them as Airbnbs, they didn't cash flow as normal rentals. They only cash flowed as an Airbnb. They're making a lot more money from it, correct? So that factored into a huge loss for a lot of people who were just getting by as an Airbnb, but they wouldn't cash flow as a rental, because when the state came and changed the laws and the rules, then all of these smaller, mom and pop or whoever would be, they basically couldn't cash flow that way, and they had to sell the units off and get out of the units, because you can't lose money and keep something. So with that said, so whatever state you're in or whatever city you're in, definitely make sure that you could do the Airbnb, or that city and county is not changing any regulations. If there's permits involved that you need it, be careful with that city, because that permit could definitely change. You have a year permit, so 1 year from now is that city and county may change those permits. And be ready for that, because we buy these rental properties not for the short-term lifespan of these. These are long-term assets. These are long-term holds. So can you do Airbnb for 5 years, 10 years? You want to be able to sustain that growth. And if you can't, then think about, these now have to become single family rentals. These have to become normal rentals. And will they cash flow that way? So one, if they work as an Airbnb, we make sure they also work as a 1% rule. And that 1% rule I talk about heavily on my Instagram and Facebook. It's that whatever you purchase this property for, it needs to rent for 1% of what that rent is. For $100,000, it needs to rent for $1,000 a month. With that said, that is our kind of plan B. So you got to have plan A, plan B. You have to have different exit strategies with these type of deals. And plan C is to sell it as a flip, as to make money off of that sale. So if you can't do plan B, but you want to Airbnb it, you still need to make money as a flip. You need to get out of that deal and not lose money. So we will buy properties as great Airbnbs, but not necessarily work as a single family rental, but we can still get out of the deal and not lose any money. So make sure you have exit strategies in this game, because hey, this game of real estate, it's very can eat you alive. It's a lot of money at stake. So have different exit strategies, understand that deal, understand worst case scenarios. And that's what I'm speaking of. Understanding the worst case scenario. So these cities may be, ready to change their laws, anytime soon. That's what happens here in Hawaii with all these Hawaii hotels started to change their laws, and the hotel industry basically was coming after a lot of the Airbnbs. And a little insight of what I heard, why the hotel industry came after Airbnbs, obviously because it was taking some of their business, as we all know, but they lobbied to the government, to the state, that their employees would have to pay higher rent because there's less rentals available, because of everyone was Airbnb everything. So they lobbied to the city and county to get rid of Airbnbs, to keep their employees' costs down, so they didn't have to pay all these higher rents, mean they have to pay their employees more, and that's how they lobbied to get Airbnbs taken care of. So that's kind of how Hawaii works. I mean, that's just how Hawaii is run. So more into that's analyzing, understanding Airbnbs, and make sure you have that second kind of outage of it all, and to be able to get out of that deal. And then now, once you actually purchase that Airbnb, the things to look out for too, now that we have laws here in Hawaii, make sure that building allows a zoning for it, that association. For example, Waikiki, we all think you can Airbnb everything in Waikiki, and that's not true. There is the building association also has to allow under 30-day rentals as well. So that association, the AOAO, has to allow it too. So there's a handful of buildings in Waikiki, about 20 of them. I have a list of them that you can legally Airbnb into those buildings. So besides the zoning of the area, the land has to allow from the city and county, then the building also has to be allowed. On Oahu right now, it's Waikiki, Ko'olina, and North Shore is the zoning, but also that building has to allow for that short-term rental as well. So that's just to be, make sure it's legal in a sense. So that's just off the bat, you got to make sure that you can do it legally as well. And then you finally get that Airbnb, and now you're going to start listing that. You're going to set up a service. First step is to buy the property, then to you always want to come in there and just put nice new clean things. You can do a lot with a couple grand. You can do a lot by going to Ross and Target and Amazon and or hiring a decorator as well, hiring somebody or getting a girl that and I say a girl because they often design better than some of us men, and getting them out there to help you, just designing, made it real creative, real fun atmosphere. We do a lot of fun things in our Airbnbs, not too over the top because of damages that will occur to a lot of these things, but hanging some pictures of some angel wings on a wall so they can take some fun pictures, or being creative with some of the accent walls and providing a full Airbnb, so having beach chairs and towels and snorkel mask and everything there for that guest, some boogie boards to really help them really enjoy their stay, shampoos, a full kitchen with everything stocked in the kitchen. Really helps that guest enjoy their stay. You're trying to do this because you really want to build a great repetition for your Airbnb and who you are and so forth. And we bought in some Airbnbs where the previous host just didn't, it was just outdated, old. They didn't take care of it. And we come in and just give it a new facelift. Spend $3-4 grand on it and just give it a whole new facelift often goes a long way to help this, business to start thriving again. And that's what you're doing. You're figuring out how to create somebody else's business, sometimes that was Airbnb, and to help it thrive and help it do more. And I'll talk about that here in a second with some other things like automations and software involved, and not just doing it, with a pen and paper and a phone call. And so after you get that thing very nice and new and clean, and you put some cool little, modern touches to it, make it very unique. You want a uniqueness. You want to have personality. Fun tile, maybe in your bathroom, fun accent walls, really fun decorations. But don't go over the top, because this is an Airbnb and they do get beat up. And we have a house that actually during COVID was getting, not COVID, but towards the end of COVID, it was getting used a lot for parties. And people would go and party at this house. And it got beat up, and it was a brand new renovated house that we did, and everything was new to it, but no one else had a place to go, so they were using this house. So things get beat up at all your Airbnbs. Things get beat up. Just imagine how you are at an Airbnb, and even if you're a nice, clean, perfect person, there's still things that happen, just the foot traffic and the usage of people in and out every day. So things that you wouldn't guess get really beat up. I've seen some people who recently got a bunch of Airbnbs and they're really doing a great job at them, but they've only had them for a year. And I start looking at all the things they have in the unit. It's like, just wait till you see how much things get beat up and it takes to upkeep things. If you have a hot tub or a pool that is on the side of your unit, or you have a bunch of toys in the yard, or a bunch of fun things for people to use, it's a swing or something, which is super cute, but that's just going to get torn up. Even in your yards, for example, you got to keep them very neutral and safe, because one party at your house, things, people are just going to tear it all up. And you can get money, you can get reimbursements from Airbnb, from booking.com. You can get reimbursements. You should definitely have a deposit set up to cover that kind of stuff. But $300, $400, $500 only goes a long way when some of these damages, we've had faucets breaking and water, whatever, damages can go a long way when people are using these units, and so forth. And the best place, I would say, to get, I'm not a professional decorator by far, but I just know that Costco is great. Costco already figured out what the number one pillow is, what the number one bed is, what the number one towel is. They have big tubs of of shampoo and big tubs of conditioner, those big bottles. So we provide all of those kind of things. Also, we go on Amazon and we bought then the small little hotel ones as well for some of the Airbnbs and provide that for guests. The kind of small ones, we can throw them away and switch them out as well. The sheets are great on there as well. So we get actually a lot of our things from Costco. Some of the decorations too, I'll just get the pots and pans from there. They have some metal, cool pictures, silverware, some of the kitchenware stuff. We'll just get it all from there. It's just easier and quicker for me. I can go in there with one cart. I can walk out of there with like 3-4 carts and just get it done quickly. Then I'll go into Amazon and get some of the fun decoration kind of stuff. And that's where we get most of our good stuff. If you want to spend more money on things, that's great. But don't go too over the top, because you generally will be changing these things later on. It just happens. These places get beat up. And second part of it all is to have a good team involved. You definitely need a good handyman, or you definitely need to know one, or yourself. You don't want to be doing it yourself. Ultimately, your time is money, so you do not want to have that. So having a good handyman, as well as your cleaning company, your cleaners in general. I have amazing cleaning person out there and his team. And shout out to him. He does a great job. He will definitely take care of that unit, and he'll go above and beyond. We do special cleans once in a while, where we'll come back and maybe it's an off day, and we'll come back and we'll do a deep clean, just an extra clean, because these places are getting beat up, that he may have missed from that one clean. Because generally he has like a couple hours, 2-3 hours to clean in between guests. So he doesn't have as much time to do a deep clean. So we do a monthly deep clean, kind of here or there. We'll pick a vacant day or something. We'll do deep cleans, as well as he helps with. He takes care of all the supplies. We have all the shampoos and conditioners and toilet papers and supplies that is needed for it. And he will take care of all of that stuff. I do pay him separately to take care of that stuff, but he takes care of all of that great stuff, so I don't have to be doing that. I don't want to be going to Costco every week, so I do pay him extra to do that. So you find a cleaner that helps with that kind of stuff, as well as the sheets and the towels and washing those. We do always white sheets and white towels and keep it very white. That way they can interchange between units, as well as just easier to clean and bleach, and you're not worrying about them getting colored and so forth. And white is clean and white is crisp, and you can buy new sheets and so forth, and they'll match with other white pillowcases or white whatever you have, the fitted sheet. So just keep it nice and crisp and clean and new. You're almost trying to make it look like a hotel. That's what I try to do. I try to make it nice, like a clean, nice hotel. So we want that crisp, nice feeling when they come into a unit. It is super important to have them very cleaned as well. That is obviously a must on all Airbnbs. And it's hard because sometimes something will get missed. Your cleaner only has a few hours. And it will happen, especially when you start getting volume. When we have a lot of Airbnbs, there's something will come up. Somebody will complain about something. So you're really trying to prevent those complaints, because so importantly is your reviews into all of that. And now let's talk about that. How were we so great with our reviews? We are SuperHost, and we're all that great stuff. And you don't see me texting all day, guests and so forth. And we're SuperHost because we have some software and some automations involved with that kind of stuff. So we've been using IGMS. IGMS was a great software for us, and it's a great with automations. It helps us with a few huge things. So it does an automation. So when our guests first check in, of course, it sends out all the check-in instructions, all the basic stuff of Wi-Fi's and the code for the door as well, airport directions. Just go over the top and give them everything you possibly can think of they're going to need. How to find a place. If you walk around the corner here, be real descriptive in that. And then we also send them it as a PDF and picture form as well, so they can have a picture form. You're just trying to ease that any kind of how to use a key, how to find the lockbox, exactly where it is, show a picture of where that lockbox is. So you're just trying to ease the whole process to be very simple. After the check-in, we'll have another text automation set out. Hey, how's your stay going? Is there anything you need? We're checking in with them. And then we have a few other automations where we're just constantly checking in with the guest, at the end of the stay, how their stay was. Please leave a review. All these kind of stuff. Even before the stay, let's get, trying to get you ready for a stay. Keep in mind this and this and this. So we're really trying to automate that experience for the guests, where we're just constantly in their face interacting with them. And then my team will all comment back if we need to. Because a super important thing when a guest comments is you have to respond back very quickly. You have to respond within an hour or so. Even when they say thank you, you need to be the last one to say thank you. So you say thank you, they say thank you, you got to say thank you. That's all very important. So if you have a lot of these auto responders set up, now you have we have 100% communication on our profile. So we have great communication because of these automations that are set up in there. And there's things that will come up, and they couldn't figure out how to turn the key in a clockwise direction or turn in counterclockwise. There's everything you think of. The funniest, stupidest thing will come up, and it was 12 in the morning. They're calling you. So, be ready for those kind of stuff. I try to have my team take care of it, so I'm not the only one involved in taking care of this, because you do want to act fast and you don't want to be cumbersome dealing with this kind of stuff. So having that great software, we are now actually just got off the phone with Guesty. I think we're going to switch over to Guesty. IGMS, we're having some trouble with some payments with Booking.com. We're able to use IGMS and actually use multiple different sites. So we use IGMS for it. It's a channel manager, what's called, and it can put our hotel room or whatever it is onto Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, Travel, TripAdvisor, and we've been VRBO. So we actually have some trouble with IGMS collecting payments for Booking.com, and it has been a little clunky, I guess, in some of the services when guests have canceled. They've not been listing those sites as available again. So we've just been struggling with some of those things. So we're actually switching to Guesty. So it's a great channel manager to list your site on every other platform, because Airbnb is just one platform. That's 75-80% of the market. Yes, we all use Airbnb, but you do want to capture that other, 25% of the market. You want to capture that listing to be always fully booked, and then also being booked at the optimal price. So we just started, we've been using PriceLabs now for about a year, and PriceLabs helps push our listings to what the prices should be. I used to try and figure out myself what I think this Airbnb or this listing should be rented at nightly, but we were under the mark. Sometimes we were too short to. So PriceLabs now figures out the exact amount every night. Maybe a concert's going on, there's lack of inventory, whatever it may be. They're going to figure out what that listings should cost, and you're going to pay $20, $40 a month for that software. But can you generate $40 more? And you should look at that. And it's it may be. You may be a fully 100% occupied, but you're occupied too low in your costs, and you're not bringing up your cost. So it's just a dynamic pricing tool that helps you figure out what your pricing should be. And if you want to do it your way, that's fine. Go onto Craigslist, go onto other Airbnbs, and look what they're renting them for. See what that building or that area rents for, and try to dynamically price yourself that way, and have more for the weekends as well. And you can do it nightly, Monday, Tuesdays less, more on Friday, something like that you could do. I've since stopped doing that and just use the software. And you can actually tweak the software too if you do want to bring it down some costs as well. So using PriceLabs as well is great. Also, another important part of it is having some kind of software. Guesty and IGMS, they have a communications for your cleaners. So our cleaners are getting notified right away that, hey, this Airbnb is becoming ready to clean. Let's get this thing cleaned out. We have a guest that just checked in last minute and it's checking out, tomorrow. So be ready for that. So it's a great way that you don't have to be calling your cleaner to let them know you have guests coming here and there. It's just so they're aware of it. They can schedule their own self. They have a life, so they have to schedule themselves. So it's a great place to just schedule everything out, and it just makes it easier for your cleaner as well as, both sides of it too, well as the guests too. So making sure the guests know it's clean and so forth. Another trick we do is a trick, but we used to do a 2-night, 5-night minimum at the house and so forth. We've since scaled back down to a nightly minimum. We have a 1-night minimum. And in doing so, we actually get more bookings that way, and we make more that way as well. So we're making more doing that by getting the unit filled more, because no one else has nightly, or there's a spot here or there. We can kind of fill it up a lot faster and a lot more. So I've changed it to a nightly minimum to really utilize and get more out of that listing as well. The last part of the software that we use from HomeAway IGMS is you should use a Stripe for an automation for payments as well. We have that set up. Or you should also use, I can't think of the name of it, but having different software, it makes it just so much easier to have it all set up and have it just automated, and just so it takes away from you and all your troubles of dealing with it all, because you do want to automate the whole thing. A lockbox is the last important, obviously, part of it all, and having a software with that to change your code dynamically. You can actually integrate it with Guesty as well. They'll allow you to change that code on that lockbox, that dynamically as a guest check in and out and so forth. Again, you're trying to automate this thing. Some little things are important. Professional pictures. Go pay for professional pictures. Do not use your iPhone and do it yourself. Pay the $100, $200 and get some professional pictures. It will save you money in the long run. So having good pictures, extremely important. Put a king-size bed if you can into there to give that guest, a grander feeling, and say that on the listing. Also, how you describe the listing is very important. The header, the title that you put on there, super important. Make sure it's catchy. Maybe cap lock some certain items that you want to stand out. Fun emojis is important as well when you're listing that listing on those sites. And you're just trying to make it pop in front of everybody else's, of course. So that's some of the biggest basics as well. And then on top of that, we have a Turo. We have a car that we rent out as well. It's just like Airbnb. And we actually have a minivan, a Honda Odyssey, I think it is. I've seen it twice now. But so when guests check into our Airbnbs, we send out an automated message. Hey, if you like to rent our minivan, it comes with the unit. You can rent the minivan. Here's the site to go rent to it. It's on Turo, but they would have to go to the Turo site to rent it as well. And that thing does extremely well. It's rented out, I think we're 3 months booked all the time. And this gives that guest that feeling of having something else for them to use as well. So that's the simplicity of it all, but it's really complex. So make sure you have, had good understanding of this before you dive on into it. And there's a ton of costs that go into these deals. So make sure you understand a ton of costs that they go into all these deals when you buy these Airbnbs. I just want to take a quick second, and if you're enjoying our content, please subscribe below. I love it if you guys can leave us a review or a comment, or let me know what you guys thought. I love honest feedback, and I love hearing what you guys think. So in segment 1, we ask questions to guests, and one of the questions we got to one of our lovely, great viewers out there is from Tasha, and she asked, what do I do if an Airbnb resident throws a party and trashes my property? So that's a great question, and we learned the hard way because one of our Airbnbs, they were throwing parties at them all the time, and we didn't specify on there. Airbnb called it on us out on this, and say you need to say on there no parties allowed. So we've since changed that description, say no parties allowed. And two, we started requiring a deposit. We didn't actually have a deposit onto our Airbnb. So you can actually specify every time somebody rents your place to have a $300 deposit. Now you think $300, that's not going to cover much, you know. So that one large party that we had, huge party they had at one of our houses, they did trash it a lot, and Airbnb was able to refund us for a lot of the broken blinds, and they broke sink faucets and so forth, and we had to do a huge cleanup. So Airbnb did give us most of the money to cover that cost. You know, I did fudge it to make sure it covered a little extra because there's just wear and tear damage that I counted for. You know, we had to touch up paint and so forth. But you can most of the times get most of your money back for these costs. If not, that's just, you do have to account for that. Managing these properties, you do have to account for the upkeep of these properties. So you should have, it's called a capital expenditure. You should have a CapEx included when you analyze these deals. So you need to account for the upkeep, and it's a huger upkeep. Normally it's a 5-10% for capital expenditures for rentals. So you just raise that capital expenditures to 15%, because these are going to have bigger wear and tear for these properties. So make sure when you analyze a deal, you have a capital expenditure involved into that deal. So great question. Please ask more on our Instagram or our Facebook pages. I love answering questions as we talk about every week, and I want to help you guys in some of the insights I've struggled with Airbnb. Deal highlight of the week. I just talked about this last week. We do have this huge shopping center at a 12 cap we are purchasing. We are doing right now a pre-fund, a pre-raise, seeing anyone who would be want to commit to the deal as well. Before we buy this property, we're actually trying to pre-raise funds. It's called a soft raise. So if you're interested in this huge property we're going to buy, we're giving off some huge tax credits. So anyone who makes a lot of money and needs some tax savings, we'll give you the huge tax savings we get from this property, with dollar for dollar. So whatever you put in, you'll get that tax savings back, and then we'll get your funds back when we refinance this property in 3 to 5 years. And then as well as our investors also will make 8% annualized return on their money. So you make an 8% return, you'll get a dollar for dollar tax credit, and you get all your money back in about 3 years once we stabilize this property. So it's a great deal. Super excited. We're partnering more with people now instead of just investors for some of these larger assets. They do take 3 to 5 years as well to stabilize and do them. They're large assets. It's a shopping center with Office Max and this huge gym in it. So completely rented out office space. We're super excited to bring that opportunity to our investors. So check out our portal. Check out indarhawaii.com, and you can click invest now. And you can kind of see all the information about the deal. So indarhawaii.com as well. And Indar Hawaii is all my social media handles, guys. So Indar Hawaii, Facebook, Instagram, all those. Go on there and message and comment. And I'd love to hear the things you guys want me to talk about, because I'll talk to you hours about it. I'll tell you all the insights of all these different real estate and money, fun stuff we can talk about. So check all of that out. Thank you, guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Make sure you subscribe and check out all our upcoming investment opportunities. And really, please, honestly, just leave a review, a comment. I love to answer everyone's questions, and I love talking story with you guys. And I want to help you guys learn and achieve your goals in life. And I'm really blessed and happy to be able to give that experience to you guys. Because, hey, when I started, there was no one doing this. So I want to be the Hawaii guy to help you guys, succeed in whatever you guys are doing in life. And there's more than enough for us to go around. There's abundance in life. And I'm really blessed and super excited to be able to share with you guys some of my wins as well as my losses in life, and to help you guys grow as well. So please subscribe to Indar Hawaii on my Instagram, social media, and our YouTube channels, as well as on our podcast as well. So thank you guys, and have a great day. Aloha.